Mr. Chairman, pertaining to Mr. Ephraim from the previous hearing and panel, and we discussed the Smith case, I went back upstairs and pulled the sentencing memo. I've highlighted where the sentencing guidelines recommended a sentence of life imprisonment. I'd like to submit that for the record and clear the air on that issue.
Without objection.
Thank you. Mr. Fonzone, I do want to come to you. Your position, if you're confirmed, would hold you responsible for reviewing all executive orders, providing legal guidance to each agency in the executive branch, and working closely with A.G. Garland, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, let's talk about this in light of the work you've done for the Chinese Communist Party and for Huawei. Because as Senator Graham said, we're going through a process of ripping and replacing Huawei equipment here in the U.S. And I'd like to know if you regret your work for Huawei, if you regret your work for the Chinese Communist Party, and if you regret advocating for the Chinese Ministry of Commerce, their MOFCOM, which in essence, you would have been turning your back on American workers. Do you hold those actions in regret?
Senator, thank you for the question. As I said in response to the earlier question, I did a small amount of work at the request of my partners a long time ago. It hasn't affected my ability in my current role, to serve in my current role and provide objective legal advice as the General Counsel of the Office Director of National Intelligence. It would not affect my ability to serve at OLC. A lot of time has passed since I served on a moot court for a partner of mine who was arguing a case for the Ministry of Commerce.
Okay, my time is limited,
okay.
But you doubled down on this. You did more than just a little bit. And I think one of the things that concerns me is basically your work with the Chinese Ministry of Commerce. You were advising them on how to game the system, the American system, and that causes me concern. Let me ask you this, because you're going to be working with A.G. Garland, and there's been a lot of conversation from Tennesseans that I represent. They're very concerned about two tiers of justice and how this affects their lives. So I think it's important that you have the opportunity to assure the American people that you are not going to participate in two tiers of justice. And I'd like for you to weigh in for just about 30 seconds. Do you condemn the politicization of the Department of Justice and the actions that have taken place there against parents, against pro-lifers?
Senator, OLC is not a policymaking office. If I'm fortunate enough to be confirmed, OLC's role is a reactive one. It answers legal questions presented to it by other parts of the executive branch. And if confirmed—
Do you condemn the politicization of the department?
Senator, my role at OLC would simply be to provide frank and independent legal advice.
So, okay. All right, so you're not going to do that. Okay, Mr. Kiel, let me come to you. I think your mom deserves Mother of the Decade. And I'm delighted that she's here. Senator Hawley came to you on a question about ALDEF and some of their lack of ability to condemn Hamas. So I want to simplify this and see if we can get a response to you, because see, I think your approach and what you believe about things is important. It's important to Tennesseans. This is a life appointment. So knowing how people approach problem solving and approach issues is vitally important. And your answers were really quite troubling to me because it was a non-answer. And we would like something. So do you think that ALDEF needs to release a statement strongly condemning the actions of Hamas, this beheading of babies, this raping of women, this putting babies in an oven? Yes or no? Should they release a statement? Yes or no?
Senator, I don't know anything about the statement.
Okay, let's see. So you have not watched the news lately. Let's move on. Do you believe that Hamas is solely to blame for this unconscionable violence in Israel?
Senator, I tried to respond to Senator Hall.
So that was a yes or no. So you don't have, see, this is what is of concern to me. Let's go at it this way. So do you believe this is a both sides issue? In other words, do you believe that both Hamas and Israel are to blame on this? Yes or no?
Senator, I don't believe it's a yes or no answer for me. It's a very complicated issue. It's a very tragic situation.
I think that the U.S. recognizes Hamas as a terrorist organization. This ought not to be complicated. I yield.
understand
Thank you,
that,
Mr.
Senator.
Chair.
Judge Kiel, do you want to finish your answer?
I did, Senator. Yes, I understand that Hamas is considered a terrorist organization by the United States government.